Good morning, all of you. Today we shall start with the simple complex compound, the way you are supposed to transform the sentences. Now, first, take note of the phrase prepositions and their equivalent coordinate and subordinate conjunctions. As we talked earlier, that in a simple sentence, generally there is a phrase preposition, and in a complex sentence, there is a subordinate conjunction, and in place of that, in a compound sentence, there is a coordinate conjunction. Now let us first go through the sentence structure of a simple sentence, complex sentence, or a compound sentence. Now in a simple sentence, there is one subject plus one verb plus one object, that is called SVO, subject verb object. In a complex sentence also we have subject verb plus object, that is common. So in a simple sentence as well as in a complex sentence, common is subject verb object. Same thing applies to compound sentence also, that subject verb plus object is common. Okay. Now the second thing that varies or differs in a simple sentence is, in place of there is a phrase preposition or an infinitive. Infinitive means 2 plus root form of the verb or the base form of the verb. Then we have present participle or a past participle or perfect participle. Now let us revise that a present participle is a verb with ing form. Verb plus ing is called present participle. Past participle is the third form of the verb. For example, say write, then writing is present participle. Written is past participle. And perfect participle means having plus past participle. So having written is perfect participle. So in a simple sentence, a phrase preposition may be given in place of subordinate conjunction or a coordinate conjunction in a complex or compound sentence. And in a complex sentence and a compound sentence, as we discussed earlier, that there are at least two verbs. Okay, that second verb is after the conjunction in a complex sentence or a compound sentence. So that second verb that is there, in place of that second verb, in a simple sentence there will be infinitive, present participle, past participle or perfect participle. Whereas there will be a phrase preposition in place of a subordinate conjunction or a coordinate conjunction. Now there are some phrase prepositions which have equivalent meaning as subordinate conjunctions and coordinate conjunctions, and you are supposed to transform them in such a way that, suppose in spite of or despite are used preposition, then in a complex sentence you have to use though, although, even though, even if, however, as. Any of these subordinate conjunctions can be used to make it a complex sentence, though their sentence pattern changes. That will go through as we do the example. In a compound sentence, instead of though, although, even if, however, or as, or in spite of or despite in a simple sentence, we have to use but, yet, or still in a compound sentence. Now the second thing that we are taking into consideration is, now this in spite of, despite, though, although, even if, however, as, but, yet, or still, all these words show contrast. Whereas the second point that we are doing is to plus root form of verb show purpose. With a view to or for plus ing form of the verb show purpose. So that, in order that, plus subject plus modal auxiliary plus root form of the verb to make it complex sentence, then so that, in order that are the conjunctions that show purpose. Likewise, in a compound sentence, to show purpose we'll have to use want or wanted to plus and so. And so are coordinate conjunctions to make it a compound sentence. Now let us look at the example so that you understand it better. Now, expression of contrast. In spite of or despite working hard, he failed to get the first rank. Now here, how many verbs are there in this sentence? Suppose say here it is given that this is a simple sentence, but you may take into account words that look like verbs also as verbs. For example, say working. Work is a verb, worked is a verb, or work can be written in any of the 12 tenses, but working is not a verb. It is, as we had discussed earlier when we understood the terms, that only present participle is not a verb. It is so there is only one verb in this sentence, that is failed. To get is infinitive. An infinitive is not a verb because it is not in any tense. So, though it appears that there are three verbs in this sentence, working, failed, and to get, but in fact there is only one verb, failed, that is in simple past tense. Now, to make it a complex sentence, instead of in spite of or despite, we'll have to use a subordinate conjunction. As we have enlisted the subordinate conjunctions, which subordinate conjunction can be used in place of in spite of or despite to show contrast, though, although, even though, even if. Using though, although, even though, even if, we can make a sentence that though, although, even though, even if, then working was not a verb. Instead of that, we make it a verb in simple past tense, as the sentence is in past tense. So, worked hard. And then we write, he failed to get the first rank. The second part we don't need to change, because we already changed the non-verb working into a verb and have made it a, so there are two verbs plus we have used a subordinate conjunction, and that's why it's a complex sentence. Then using however also we can use make a complex sentence. However hard he worked. Here only the sentence structure changes. Though he worked hard. So though plus he, that is subject, plus worked, that is verb, and hard is an adverb. Here what we have written when we use however plus hard, that is adverb, plus he, that is subject, plus worked, that is verb. So this sentence structure you should note down and memorize it, that when you use however, the sentence structure should be however plus adverb plus subject plus verb. When you use though, although, even though, even if, the sentence structure should be though, although, even though, even if, plus subject plus verb plus adverb. And if we use as, we can also make a using as also we can make a complex sentence, but there again the sentence structure will change. Hard as he worked, he failed to get the first rank. There again say adverb plus as plus subject plus verb, and the other part of the sentence remains as it is. To make it a compound sentence, as we have enlisted that the coordinate conjunctions which can be used to show contrast are but, yet, and still. So he worked hard, but yet still he failed to get the first rank. That is a compound sentence. Now, expression of purpose, that he came to my house to or in order to help me in my work. Now we have already written the sentence structure over here, that to, in order to, plus root form of the verb. So he came to my house to help me or in order to help me. Help is the root form of the verb. If we use with a view to or for, then the sentence will be he came to my house for, with a view to, plus ing form of the verb, that is helping me in my work. So here again say a simple sentence may be given and you will be asked to use with a view to, then the only change that you have to make is, instead of help, that to help, that is the root form of the verb, you have to write the present participle helping. Then to make it a complex sentence, the sentence structure is given over here, that you have to use so that, in order that, these are the subordinate conjunction, plus subject, plus modal auxiliary, can, could, should, would, must, might, have to, has to, had to are the modal auxiliaries, plus root form of the verb. So here we will write that he came to my house. Instead of for, with a view to, in order to, we write so that or in order that, plus he, that is subject, could, that is modal auxiliary, and help is the root form of the verb, and the remaining part of the sentence remains as it is. Then to make it a compound sentence, the sentence structure is given over here, that want or wanted to plus and so. So he wanted to help me in my work, and so he came to my house. If it is present tense, you have to use want to. If it is past tense, you have to use wanted to. And so we have to use, so that it becomes a compound sentence and a coordinate conjunction is used. Okay, go through these things, memorize these, and we'll go ahead with the other topics of simple, complex, compound in the next session. Thank you.